This episode of St James's Pod is brought to you by Total Supplements. Visit their website totalsupplements.co to discover their range of nutritionist-tested supplements, gummies, shakes and natural extracts. From popular sports supplements like whey protein, creatine, vitamin tablets and powders to mental health supplements such as nootropics and mushrooms, they've got you totally covered. They also have men's health collection offering testosterone support and beauty supplements to keep you looking like your absolute best. I personally use Total Supplements products and I have been using them from before they came on board to sponsor the podcast, so I'm hugely excited to be partnering with a brand that I know and love. So whether you train hard, work hard or take an active interest in your overall health, use our code stjames'pod, that's stjamespod, for 25% off your entire order. The link's in the description. Support the podcast and visit totalsupplements.co now and tell them St James's Pod sent you. And we're back. Welcome to St James's Pod. In this episode, we're looking ahead to two games. We've got Man United in the Cup, where we've got to go down to Old Trafford, and then we're going to host Arsenal. So they're both massive games, and the first one up could be a bit of revenge for us for last season, and it would be great to see us absolutely tank them at their place and knock them straight out the Cup. So we'll dive straight into that one with Tom and Alex. Lads, how are you feeling going into this game? Are you giving us a good chance of getting through this round?
I think you got to feel confident looking at how Man United just tumbled to a horrible defeat at the weekend to their bitter rivals City. Their form has just been so up and down this season, and yeah, I think it just. I know we've got our injury concerns going into the game, but the lads need no more motivation. This same competition, we got the final against them last season. We know what the outcome was in that, but yeah, I'm feeling as though the lads should be more than up for this, and yeah, I think I can feel a win. I know I predicted at the start of the season that we could go all the way in this competition, so I'm going to stick with my guns on that one, and yeah, Man United will breeze through, hopefully.
Breeze through. To be fair, they were fucking shocking against City at the weekend. Like they didn't want to know. Like Maguire, Evans at the back, and to be fair, Lindelof left back. Like, what is going on there? As the bald man himself said, tactics.
Tactics, yeah.
The tactics were fucking bollocks, and even his subs at half time made it even worse. So I get into them, lads up for it. And you'd think, right, there's a few lads who'll be coming into this game, maybe the likes of Livermore or Lewis Hall, who haven't had many minutes. They're surely fighting for a place. Like, this is their opportunity to shine. Like, we're taking 7,000-8,000 fans down. Like, they want to impress, and I do fancy and honestly, they're my most hated team in the league. And you've seen how they fucking hide the toys out the pram at the end of the City game. Anthony losing it, and fucking. I don't understand how Bruno Fernandes is their captain. I know Roy Keane touched on it after the game. They're just a horrible team, horrible manager, and yeah, getting one over on them. A little bit of revenge would be nice.
Oh, it'd be beautiful.
Did you see the penalty that City were given in that game? It seemed really, really soft to me.
We'll not talk about soft penalties, will we?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, like, it kind of makes you think about ours in the Wolves game. So I know obviously we're all happy we've got to give him, but what you're saying about that one as well? Would you? You'd feel hard done by if it was the other way, like, wouldn't you?
Soft doesn't really cut it, does it? Like, it's not like Shaw's even trailing a leg. Like, he just catches him so slightly. I just don't understand how. Well, yeah, in real time you understand how the pen was given, because obviously the ball's completely missed. Chan completely misses the ball, and it looks like he takes Schär out instead of clearing the ball. But then once it is slowed down, I don't understand. I know they say it's a high bar, clear and obvious. They were looking at it for a good few minutes. That's not enough contact to knock anyone to the floor. No. It's like he brushes him, like he's almost like, I don't know if he's almost going down already, but I would be very aggrieved if that was given against me. Like,
Yeah, I think there's one angle where it sort of looks like there's a contact. So I think that one angle probably is the reason why they didn't overturn it. But then I think especially one other angle, it just looks like he basically died. So yeah, I kind of understand why. Is it Gary O'Neill after the game was like scandalous, absolute scandalous. But yeah, I mean, obviously Wilson puts that away nicely in the Wolves game, cool, calm, and he gets his other goal, which was a bad keeper's mistake. But we're going to need him, aren't we, in these two games? I don't know what you guys think, but the only other option, really, if we're going to rest him, is to put Gordon up front, and then we'd have to sort out the left where we're a bit light as well. So, do you think Wilson can get through 3 games in 1 week?
Well, it's going to be a big test. Like we know what his record's like in terms of goals per minute in like this season. I think he's on like a goal every 60 minutes or something in the league. But
yeah, he's got the best in the league, I think.
That's a lot of it.
Isaac's second in the league.
Yeah, and then that comes from obviously the fact that they're in heavy rotation with each other, and you know, either starting and then the others coming off the bench or vice versa. But like, it's gonna be a test for him now to, you know, be as, you know, prolific through the 90. I would expect you'll have to put the hard yards in for the games with, like you say, not a lot of options to pick from. Yeah, I don't know. Like against Man U, I'm sure he's going to be up for it, and especially if they're going to be putting in the same sort of defensive partnerships like they did against City, I'm sure he'll be rubbing his hands, thinking there's goals to come in that. But yeah, he's finishing wise, and like his general play, I think, has been pretty good. Like in the games recently, I think even in the Dortmund game, he didn't have a lot to sort of work with, but I know some people will say he should have took the opportunity he had in that Dortmund game in the second half.
Yeah,
but
he normally would, wouldn't he? Like, it's one of them where
he would. I think it was just sort of the way it's come to him. I think on that night, I think it was just always doomed for us to not get the result, you know, hitting the crossbar twice as well. So you know, he had an effort off the bar. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily be too concerned about that. He's took his goals against Wolves well enough, and yeah, so he's going into this one knowing that everything's pinning on him to score. So I can see him doing well and being our main threat going into that Man U game.
But you could tell in the Wolves game that like we didn't play it quite as we usually do with like the high press, like Wilson like chasing down from the front. Like you tell from minute 1 that he wasn't like playing like we often do. So I think he could end up sitting off and changing the way we play slightly in the next few weeks, especially when Isaac's out anyways, because as you said, he's the one guy we're relying on. We have played Gordon through the middle, but we haven't started him in that position, have we? Like, no. we've changed it around like during the game and put him in there. And one thing I was thinking of is that we're quite lucky that Willock's just coming back, because last season, obviously, that sort of left centre mid partnership with him and Joe Linton, like it worked so well and they linked up so well. So if Gordon does move through the middle, just to give Wilson a bit of a rest, we have got that option on the left now. So it could come at the right time to, obviously Gordon played there for the under-21s, England under-21s in the summer. So it might be an opportunity, whether it's probably not in the next 2 games, maybe in the Bournemouth game after, to try that out against, maybe in quotes, weaker side. But I think the Man U game may be too soon, but we do need to rotate because Wilson can't play 90 minutes every week. So is he going to...
I think that's it, isn't it? It's like he's probably going to start, but then he's going to have to come off at about 60, 70 minutes. So we're going to have to probably change it and put Gordon up front. And as well, like Wilson's just become 3rd all-time Premier League goal scorer for us as well.
Yeah.
He overtook, was it Shola and Ferdinand?
Andy Cole?
Oh no, Andy Cole.
Yeah.
And he's 2 behind Beardsley now, I think.
Beardsley, yeah.
I mean, he's obviously not catching Shearer, but you'd like to think he's going to become the second in that stat within this season. So,
and he'll know as well. He'll have one eye on it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Guaranteed.
But I think what you said about the way we're going to have to play, I think that affected us against Dortmund, because obviously Isak came off after 12 minutes, and we've set up purposely for playing Isak up top, and they are like different players. And Isak's press is probably quite a lot better than Wilson's is. So I think that affected us, and the fact that Wilson came on without a massive warm-up.
Mm-hmm.
I think especially in that first half against Dortmund, like we did seem to struggle a bit to find our rhythm. And then I think it was a bit better against Wolves, but obviously the quality of the opposition's not at the same standard. So hopefully come Man U, we'll be set up like perfectly to play with Wilson up top. And yeah, I guess the other thing we need to talk about is the rotation, because somebody like Trippier, for example, he's come into quite a lot of stick from the Wolves game. Probably had one of his worst games, definitely this season, probably his worst game for us. And then against Dortmund as well, his passing was a bit off, his crossing was just a little bit off. So he's probably due a rest. Do you think Livramento will get a corner? Alex, you mentioned him just before.
You'd think so. Like, obviously he started in the last round against City, and he had a cracking game as well. So you'd think against Man U, considerably weaker opponent than the City neighbours, you'd think I'd be shocked if he didn't get a start, especially how Trippier, his form the last couple of games hasn't been great. Dortmund seem to target his side a little bit, and to be fair, Wolves caused problems down both our wings, I thought. Obviously Byrne was struggling against Neto, like turning inside out, and got quite lucky at one point where he got skinned by him, and obviously Neto pulled his hammy when he was bearing down on goal. So we've got out of jail with that one, but
Quality player Neto, though, isn't he?
I know,
he's a very good player.
He had a cracking game, and obviously got the assist for the headed goal, which once again Trippier lost his man for. We're going to have to rotate in these games, and we've got Arsenal at the weekend, and obviously Dortmund a couple of days after. So I think this is the game. Despite Pagey saying like we could make a run for this trophy if we obviously get a result. Like, I could see Lewis Hall coming in. I could see the likes of, well, obviously we don't have a choice with sort of Lascelles and Cher at the back, really. Like, Dummett, is he really going to come in? Like, he had a decent game against City.
I was wondering
if he comes in again.
I was wondering if we might see Byrne play centre half, but last time he played there, he was pretty poor. So I don't know. Just to give Cher a rest, but I think the main concern is probably centre mid, though, isn't it? Because Tonali's now got that 10-month ban. Came into effect just before the Wolves game, which that was a bit of a farce, by the way, because in the press conference, he's still available, and then as a club, we haven't heard anything when it's all out in the news and that everyone knows. Without being told the club. But he's out now, and obviously Anderson's just picked up that back injury. He's kept him out the last 2, I think. But they reckon that's going to be 2 months, which, to be honest, I mean, the time frames they give us sometimes, like, I'm sure Botman was meant to be a few weeks and he's still out. So I don't know when we'll next see Anderson. And that's a shame, isn't it? Because it was a huge opportunity for him with the ban of Tonali. Would have been nice to see him grab a lot of extra minutes. But yeah, Tom, what do you think we're going to do in the centre? Because we can't rotate a hell of a lot.
No. Like Alex mentioned, obviously Joe Willock's return is greatly appreciated, and he looked, pretty sharp in the last few games. In coming off the bench against Dortmund, I thought he, looked like he's, chomping at the bit a little bit more. So, that obviously is going to be a big boost to have him in there. And Joe's obviously getting more minutes in him game by game. So
is that Linton or Willock?
Joe Linton, Big Joe. So yeah,
Mr. Linton.
Mr. Linton. So yeah, there's obviously those options there on that left side. Obviously, Sean Longstaff's going to have to dig deep a little bit. I think we're going to be asking quite a bit from him over the coming games to really dig in.
I feel like he's looking a bit fatigued as well, unfortunately. But
he does. Like, I think out of all of the centre midfielders, he does put a lot of into his game. So yeah, potentially that's gonna be a factor. And then I would say, yeah, especially for the Man U game, I know we've seen Lewis Miley get appearance in this competition already this season. So let's see potentially about him sort of rotating, maybe not from a starting perspective, but definitely imagine he'll come off the bench in that game. So yeah, going to be a tough run, definitely on the legs. So like Alex saying, I think potentially see us changing our tactics a little bit, maybe not be so aggressive with the press, and sort of maybe just sort of build a little bit deeper, and keep an eye on the fitness levels of a few players in amongst that. Obviously, Murphy being out as well is not a help, getting that injury against Dortmund, especially when he was just about to hit a little bit of
just had his best ever game, hasn't he, for the Toon, and then
well, exactly, and it was just really unfortunate in the manner in which he's come off the bench and then got injured like in a pretty bad way, and that's him out for I think we're looking at over a month or maybe a couple of months. I'm not sure exactly on his time frame, but that would have been another way in which we could have rotated the side a little bit.
Do you think we might see Livramento go right wing again? I know he came on and played right wing, I think in his debut. With the fact that we've got more right backs at the club, but we don't really have any other wingers apart from Almiron, with Murphy being out.
I guess Kraft's back in training now, isn't he? So
he was on the bench against the Wolves, I think.
So if he's in for a start, and obviously Target came in, looked decent on the ball a couple of times against Dortmund as well. So do you reckon there's a chance maybe Target starts and maybe Lewis Hall fills in centre mid? Because I know he's played there before a couple of times, I think, for Chelsea. So that's potentially another option. Obviously, technically on the ball, he's very good. What do you reckon?
Yeah.
I think that's a smart move. Like, again, bringing in some Target who, I know he's come in for some criticism at times, but I thought he came off the bench against Dortmund, and his quality in that game overshone anything that Trippier had really done throughout the majority of that game on the other side. Like, he put a great free kick in, which led to Wilson hitting the crossbar. I think having him in there and then allowing Hall to just bring that youthful energy in there in the centre of midfield, probably play on that sort of left side of the three, do you think?
You think so?
And then that could then again free up Willock to maybe start as the left side of the front three. So kind of, I know it's putting sort of square pegs round holes. Unorthodox again, but like it's.
Shall let you say your favourite phrase. Square pegs round holes.
No, I know. Like I just it's obviously something that we're still striving for, to have like that strength and depth in having orthodox players being able to fill in for the starting 11. But right now, obviously, we don't have that option with the injuries.
Did you hear his words after the Wolves game about Lewis Hall and Livramento? Because someone asked him, said like basically we haven't seen them very much. Like, is there a reason for that? And he mentioned that with having 2 games a week, every single week, basically, they haven't had a lot of time on the training ground. Like, we haven't actually had so many training sessions to sort of get them up to his level. We obviously all know about that Eddie Howe level that he likes players to get to.
Yeah.
So
I think he's got a big thing about trust as well. Like he's mentioned before with Anderson, like he can trust him now. So it took him a long time to really like even though you could see the quality to like trust him in his system. So I think it's probably similar with them. And I think Livramento was obviously ahead of Hall in that regard. But I think we could see, personally, I don't think Hall will play centre mid, but I think we could see him come on the left again later on in the game. But I think Target probably does start ahead of Hall. But yeah, I mean, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, what the fans want, though, do they want to see, all right, okay, Eddie just playing the players he trusts week in, week out, and then running into the ground, and then we then have, like, a situation where halfway through the season we go from being right on course for all of our objectives to then suddenly, like, tumbling down the league and being in a position where we're struggling, or throwing in some guys now and giving that freshness. And yeah, it's a bold call. I get it. Like, it's a roll of the dice situation. If especially, you know, with a cup game and a realistic chance of going deep in that competition, I don't know. I would. It's going to be a tough one, I think, for Eddie to understand what his sort of realistic goals are for the season. Does he favour a cup run over, like, maybe finishing higher up in the league, or going deeper into Europe, for example? But for me, you got to get that balance, and I'd probably expect to see some of those younger players getting the nod in this competition in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, it's going to be a big call for him, but like you said, I mean, this is what he's got to deal with this season. And another thing I was thinking was, do we see a change up in goal for this round? Because he stuck with Pope for the last round, didn't he? But he's not covered himself in glory, and especially in the last game. And he's been, I feel like he has been flat on that stuff a bit in the last couple of games. I think Dortmund, like, is just probably a bit nervous, like such a pressured occasion. But he did make like fantastic double save in the towards the start of the game. But could you see someone like Dubravka coming in for the cup potentially, maybe, or Karius maybe? They've both been on the bench recently.
Yeah, no, I would think that would be a sensible move. Like, he's but like you say, the Dortmund game, shot stopping, we can never really fault Pope in that regard. Like, shot stopping wise, he's, you know, right up there, and made, like you say, that hell of a double save and another save early on as well in that match against Malin, I think it was. But yeah, crossing wise, and look at the Dortmund game and the Wolves game, both in horrible, wet, windy conditions, and he just doesn't look comfortable. Like, he doesn't know, like, if he's confident plucking that ball out the air when it is, like, teaming it down with rain, and, like, he just seems to not be able to relieve pressure on his defence well enough. Like, he's either trying to catch it when he should punch it, or punching it when he should be catching it, or neither being convincing. That Wolves one for me, the second goal, if he catches it, or even if attempts to catch it, I think we had enough players around that if, like, he dropped the ball, we could have cleared it.
Quite a bit of time, like, there was no one really around him.
Exactly, there wasn't as if there was the striker, like, bearing down on him, and if he drops it, then he's in danger. But he attempts a really poor punch, and obviously we know what leads to the build-up of that after that point. But if he caught that, or, like you say, somebody else clears it, I think we escape on that occasion. But yeah, I don't know. Like, and we know his kicking's been off and everything else. Like,
never been on.
It's never been on. Like, and it that was evident again in the last few games. So I think you might make a good call there, just to. But then again, it's Eddie doesn't often rotate goalkeepers that much, or defense generally. Like, so it would be a little bit of a surprise to see him make that one, especially against Man U. But yeah, I don't know, Alex, if you think otherwise.
I wouldn't be surprised at all, to be honest. Like, as you said, he's going to have to rotate. Yes, Pope's not been in great form, but you've got to try and sort of keep your squad happy, I guess. And starting Dubravka against his old team, I guess, maybe get one up on them. Yeah. Since he was
it would cut time though as well. So if he wants away in January, you might be thinking about that.
Yeah, so if we get to the final, you can't play for someone else against win the final. Aha, the tables have turned. But yeah,
if we're rotating defenders as well, though,
I don't
know if you'd want to rotate the keeper as well.
That's the thing. Like, but who would come in? Would it be Karius or would it be Dubravka? You'd think Dubravka's his second keeper, obviously, but he signed Karius to another contract or something like that. Like, he wanted to keep him on over like the likes of, well, obviously Gillespie's still got his contract, but I don't know for how long. I don't know. Obviously, he's never played for in how long. So yeah, I could say on rotation. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest.
And what about Man U? Because obviously, like, we're talking about the fact that Harry Maguire and Evans, they played the City game at least. I don't know if they started together in the game before that, did they? I know Maguire's managed to start a few games recently. And then what's the situation with, I'm assuming Shaw's injured. That's why because I know he sees tactics, but I'm assuming they've got injuries.
Yeah, they have got injuries, but it was a weird one because Varane was on the bench. That's why he was asked. Like, he was asked, okay. So why did Maguire and Evans start centre half and Lindelof left back when you've got Varane on the bench and you've got Reguilon on the bench who you've signed and barely played? And that's when he came back with tactics. So what was he? Was he resting them against City to play us on Wednesday? It's a bit of a weird one, like. But yeah, and obviously they do have injuries in defence, but you'd think that it's going to be two of Maguire, Evans, Lindelof at the back. Like, Varane's coming back from injury. Is he going to start him in the Carabao Cup game? Probably not. So
yeah.
I'm expecting a few of their young'uns to get run out as well. So there'll be a rotation on both sides.
Yeah, and we might see the likes of Martial and stuff if he's fit. I think he got a start recently as well, didn't he? Because against City they were saying what's his chops came back in from
what's his chops? Highland.
No, the Danish lad. Used to play for Spurs.
Ericsson, no.
Ericsson.
Yeah.
What's his chops?
I'd expect maybe to see that Hannibal Medjbury get another appearance as well, and
Selector.
Garnacho as well, maybe gets a nod. But the thing is, for them, they've got so many of their first team players who, they're fit but bang out of form. So do you just see them as just keep playing them in this sort of cup competition, hope a change of competition inspires them a little bit more, knockout game, etc. So yeah, Rashford, obviously we know what he did in the final. Is he going to be somebody that?
It was no goal. It wasn't his goal.
Yeah, I know, but he had a very solid game. So yeah, are they going to look at trying to inspire them?
A little bastard.
Yeah, so it's hard to see exactly what Ten Hag's going to line up with, but yeah, I think
they're away to Fulham next, so it's not as hard of a game as we've got obviously Arsenal afterwards. So he's probably got more option to keep his best team for the cup and then rotate a bit more in the league.
If you think about it, like the Carabao Cup is nothing to Manchester United. They won it last season, but their league position is much more important. So I would see Fulham as a bigger game for them than a fourth round Carabao Cup game. So surely the rest the bigger players for that game and not go so hard like this early on in the cup.
Yeah, and they'll be back in the Champions League next week, won't they?
Mm-hmm.
It's Copenhagen they'll be playing.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Well, let's try and have a prediction for the game then.
Well, considering that after 90 minutes it goes straight to pens in these rounds, I'm not gonna say it's gonna go to pens. I think we're gonna get the job done in the
Considering it goes to pens.
I think we're gonna get 3 points, maybe.
No, we'll get the job done before we need to consider any pens. So I'm gonna say 2-1 Toon.
Okay.
I'm gonna go on Desmond. Desmond, 2 to win on pens.
Oh,
that's the thing. There's gonna be so much rotation. Like, you'd be surprised if there weren't like plenty of goals. Like,
it's a fair show.
I'm gonna go 3-2 to us.
Woo! Sam's just heard what I've said about goals and was like, you know what? That's a man I can trust. That's a man who knows what he's talking about.
I was gonna go 1-0 till he said that. All right, let's talk Arsenal then. Obviously, having a very good season again so far. I think they're just a few points behind Spurs at the minute. I think top of the second in the table. Yep. I don't know how much of their games you've been watching recently, but the last game, Enquiries had to step up because Jesus was injured, and then he got a hat trick. Although it was, I think it was Sheffield United on it. So,
he only scored 3, did he?
No.
Yeah. But yeah, they're right up there again this season. Same points as City. More.
Yeah, no.
They've only lost. Well, they haven't lost any. Sorry. So.
Yeah, defensively as well. Like they've kept. They've only conceded 8 as well. So again, another solid season for them defensively, I would say. Which
despite playing is roulette.
Yeah, no, it's obviously strange that they've done that, but it's in some games I know it's not worked out, but others it's been pretty decent. But no, defensively wise, yeah, they're looking good, and that's where the Arsenals of old have always failed. Like, and yeah, I think they've got a solid backline. Which
Arsenal's of old, like the Invincibles who didn't lose for the full season.
I'm more talking about the last maybe 5 to 10 years where they've just been in the wilderness a little bit. But yeah, no, that's going to be a concern for us, I would say, in terms of trying to breach that defense of theirs. I think that's what's been exciting for them, that they've got a consistently good defense these days, and obviously, yeah, they still play nice, attractive football going forward. I think they've, like you say, you've got Nketiah coming in, banging a hat trick. Saka's just scoring goals and getting assists week in, week out, looking the real deal. So there's danger men in lots of positions for Arsenal, but it all kind of builds from that back for me. So yeah, it's a concerning looking fixture from our point of view. So yeah, not really looking forward to it.
They're looking good, aren't they? Rice obviously coming in, he's got everything, hasn't he? Defending, going forward, passing, he's a complete player. There's a reason why they've paid 105 million for him. And he's alluded to that recently. That's what's sort of helping motivate him. He knows it's a big price, and he knows he's got to play and he's got to step up and be the man. And he's been playing class, to be fair to him. I think, as you're saying, I'm a bit nervous about this one because Dortmund causing problems down the wings, Wolves causing problems down the wings. Who have these got? 2 of the best wingers in the league, potentially in the world, Martinelli and Saka. Like, fuck me. Like, they're going to cause Trippier and Burn problems. I'd imagine it'll be them too. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. Obviously, was it just them and Liverpool that beat were at our place last season?
Yeah.
And they were very sound for the win as well. Like, it was a comfortable win. We didn't really play it out where we could. And I think it was one of those games where we're sort of giving them a bit too much respect and we're sat off a little bit. And they've just picked off. And to get anything from this game, we need to have this high energy, high press. Like, we need to basically go toe to toe with them, because otherwise it'll be another stroll in the park.
Did you see the Chelsea game, Chelsea Arsenal, where I think it was
first half
1-1? Yeah, I think that
really poor.
It gives me a bit of hope there, but obviously they didn't really turn up, did they? So you're kind of just hoping on the fact that Arsenal don't really turn up, which isn't good. But yeah, like you mentioned with Rice, he obviously for West Ham last season he looked absolutely quality against our centre mids. So that doesn't bode well either. But you'd like to think like we've still got a pretty decent defence this season. I know it's not statistically as good as it was last season, but we've been up until the Wolves game. I think we had 4 clean sheets in 5. And yeah, I mean, going forward, I think the big thing in this game is going to be dependent on what he does for Man U, because I think if we start our strongest side, then I think we've got every chance, as long as we play to our best. But if we have to rotate in that game, then yeah, I think it could be a really tough one for us. I don't know what you think in terms of the team. Like, he's kind of hamstrung a bit in what he can do, isn't he? So
that's the thing. Like, we've got to go full strength, as you said. Otherwise, we're not. I know they've got a League Cup game and they've got a Champions League game after, just like us. They've got a bigger squad. They're used to playing in Europe. Yeah, it might not be the Champions League for the past couple of years, but they're used to playing 2 games a week, and we're still struggling with that. And it's short against Wolves, and we need to be on the game. I'd be surprised if we didn't start with strongest lineup. Like, so you Burn, you'd probably name the lineup. You definitely name the sort of from keeper to the strikers. Yeah. It's only the 2 wingers that
start against Wolves, I think.
Well, yeah, true.
Yeah, I'd expect that.
So yeah, expecting a tough game. But at St James's Park, like, we've always got a chance. Get the crowd up. Like, it's Saturday afternoon kickoff at 5:30. So hopefully people have a few pints down them and just get into them, really. By people, I mean the fans.
Yeah.
Not like Gaza having a few pints at half time, but like, fucking lads.
Imagine Tyndall could have a couple of pints before. Like,
too right. He probably does.
Yeah. What are you thinking about the atmosphere? I know there's been a lot of talk about it recently. Do you think it should be there for Arsenal? And with the Dortmund game as well, do you think that was kind of blown out of proportion a little bit, just because it seemed to me like their fans with the drum and everything, it probably made us sound a bit quieter, but it was also a nervy game, so you're going to be a bit quieter. So do you think that the stick was justified, like the amount of stick on social media and stuff?
That's the thing, like, when they've got the drum, they've got a guy on the mic, it's like regimented, it's constant, it's literally from the first minute to the last minute, and before and after the game. Like, doesn't matter if the game's a bit nervy, if the game's a bit flat, if you're losing, it is constant. So it's just hard to compete with that when we've got our home fans probably a little bit complacent, probably expecting us to play a bit better, or maybe not giving enough credit to Dortmund because they were fucking quality, let's be honest. They were great on the ball despite it absolutely fucking lashing down. We could barely get a touch. And I think from the corner, it started quite lively in terms of atmosphere. And then maybe 20-25 minutes, again, they were on top of the game. It's getting a little bit nervy. Like, it sometimes does, to be fair, like when it gets to that long and we haven't taken the lead. But I do think it was blown out of proportion. Like, people saying, it's the tourists coming in. This is what happens with the ballot. Like, it's a load of shite. You've got like 35,000 season ticket holders. Like, if they can't make a noise on a home game at Dortmund, then like you can't stop blaming anyone else. I don't care if every single one of those ballot tickets went to a tourist. It shouldn't matter with 2,500 or whatever Dortmund fans that they've got.
Well, we know that's bollocks anyway. We know the types of people who are like getting the tickets on the ballot, and they're definitely not tourists. They're as loyal as you get Toon fans that will get involved and, you know, create an atmosphere. I think, again, like we talk about the PSG game, and like they brought a drum. They had like the regimented chanting and stuff, and you know, the context of the game obviously panned out the way it did, and the atmosphere was amazing. I think it's just like, people are trying to compare like apples with pears, but for me, it's like, you know, apples and apples. Like they had their fans doing exactly the same as PSG fans did. It's just the way the manner of the game panned out that, yeah, maybe we were a little bit quieter and in certain ways, but nothing for us to like blow out proportion and kick up a fuss about. When Milan come, they'll bring the same. They've got ultras, like they'll bring them over. They'll be making equal amounts of noise, probably have drums and flares and all kinds. Are we gonna then, like, you know, say the same thing about our home fans when that game comes around? Like, probably not. No. So, like, I think it's just an easy cop out excuse to make the fact that, you know, we lost that game, and let's say we didn't like bring as much atmosphere and noise as we did against PSG.
I think as well, though, because the Palace game wasn't apparently the best atmosphere ever, and we actually won 4-0, there was already some questions about the atmosphere. And then, yeah, like, I don't know. I'm just really hoping, like, with the Arsenal game, people aren't comparing it to that Arsenal game of 2 seasons ago when it was, like, dubbed the best atmosphere in the last sort of 20 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's more than likely not going to be like that. It's going to be a very tough game, and we're going to need the crowd. But just while we're on with the Dortmund talk, how are you feeling about the Champions League group now? You think we're still got a good chance of getting out of the group, or have you really had your confidence kind of took out of you with that defeat?
For me, I'm starting to feel a little bit pessimistic about getting into the top 2. I think third place, I would like to think we're more than good enough for getting that spot. It's just these 2 away games against PSG and Dortmund before that, which I'm a little concerned about, especially the way Dortmund did play against us in that last game. They really got their tactics spot on. They've got some very good players. You know, we even like had, you know, some of the players coming off the bench, and Adeyemi like never got a proper chance to get right at us, but like I imagine, you know,
fucking rapid.
Yeah, he's so quick. Like even in the conditions that like he had to come on against, he had a couple of moments where I was like, "Fucking hell!" Like if he had himself like, a clear cut chance, he was going to be away. So like I'm sort of nervous about the options that they're going to be able to put against us at their place, and then obviously we look at PSG's home form. Like they've got 2 wins now out of those 2 home games that they've played, so it's not going to be an easy trip to go there. And then it'll come down to the Milan home game, which I think a lot of people are feeling pretty confident about, but I think it could be out of our hands by then to realistically make the top 2. Unless we sneak something in those away games, which I'm just not confident of.
Hey, what's going on?
I don't know. It's more just I know we were unfortunate. Like I get it. Like we had a couple of those chances, which obviously we'd love Wilson to have that one 6 yards out back again, and you know on another day that's in. And the ones that hit the crossbar were just bang unlucky as well. We came on at them in the last 15 minutes, which you can take a bit of confidence from that last 15, but otherwise we were outplayed against Dortmund. So that's why I'm just a little nervous, and just the way that the group is like so poised like it is. Yeah, we just got to hope for a magical night away from home for me, and where we get. I mean, it'd be great if we could get the win away at Dortmund. But I don't know. That's where I'm at.
I'd feel more confident if we had Isak back, but he's not going to be, is he? So
no.
What are you thinking, Alex? Do you reckon we've got any chance of getting any points in the away games?
Of course. First of all, the performance against PSG, like, you can't just ignore that. Like, they played their strongest lineup, and we embarrassed them, basically. The Dortmund game has had some of the worst individual performances I've seen from us this season.
Yeah,
like Trippier was very poor. Some people said Gordon had a good game. He had a 1-on-1 in the first half, straight at the keeper. He had a few chances, which, like, yes, he looked like the bright spark, but he also didn't take any of those chances. What a lot of players
and he got dispossessed for their goal as well.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah, when he had options as well on the break. You had Joe Linton not playing well, Bruno not having a great game. Yet, we still nearly came out of that game with something. We could well have came out of that game with something. So we just need to pick it up a little bit, have our head screwed on a bit more. Eddie Howe will be watching that game back 1,000 times before we play them next week. So there's nothing from that game that's making me think these are unbeatable. The atmosphere will be class. And to be fair, it could lift our players as well. Like, going into that, like, sort of siege mentality, like, atmosphere, like...
Yeah.
Like, they'll see videos and that. They'll be looking at the phones and seeing the Toon fans in Dortmund, like, during the day. Like, there's a lot of an hour. I think we could go in, like, if we get a point in either of those games, it's a decent result. And then, as you're saying, it's if we can have it all on us, beating Milan last game, the atmosphere will be as good as PSG. We will be up for it, and the players will be up for it. So I'm not as despondent as Paige, because, yeah, I think we can. I'm not ruling these games out as like, we're going to struggle, like, we're fucked.
It's just maybe as well the rule of the head-to-heads, like that. That is a stinker, because if we get a point away at Dortmund, great, but we're still obviously going to be behind them, and then Dortmund then have to play PSG at home, and then in the last round of games, and in between that they go away to Milan, don't they? And I think, the way Milan are, I think, I don't know, I'm treating Milan like they're kind of being the whipping boys of the group, but, like, they're not completely out of it themselves, like, so they may be able to do us a bit of a favour against Dortmund in that respect in match day 5, but then again, it puts the pressure on us to avoid defeat against PSG, to try and swing things back in our favour. I just that is the only thing. Like, I would be less worried if the rules were still as they were back in the day of goal difference, but that head-to-head might just, like, kill us a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like with Dortmund we still do have as much of a chance as we did at home. Like, I went into the home game feeling confident. I think we should still have as much of a chance away from home, but I'll definitely take a draw. And then with PSG, I'm a bit worried that because we embarrassed them, they're going to, like, come out to really try and, like, put things right. But saying that, I still think if Eddie sets us up correctly, like, which I'm sure obviously he's going to, I still think we could get a point in that game as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough, like, but, yeah, I feel like we're still...
I'm the Debbie Downer of the group right now.
I mean, no, to be honest, as soon as, like, the Dortmund game finished, I was kind of thinking the same as you. I was like, can we get that third spot now? Because it's gotten past us. But now, like, taking the emotion out of it and just thinking a bit more level-headed, I think there's still a good chance. I mean, obviously, as long as we're still within the group, like, there's still a chance. So, we'll just have to see how I think after this Dortmund game, obviously, it'll be a lot more clearer what we can actually achieve. But I'm interested to know, like, would you prefer to get that third spot? Because a lot of people are saying they'd prefer us to go through with third anyway, and drop into the Europa League. But I'd much rather stay in the Champions League and get at least one more Hollywood fixture would be amazing, wouldn't it? So
let's be honest. Like, again, we've said it countless times. When that draw was made, there was no expectations on us at all. We were, as much as every other fan was wanting to put it to us, like, oh, you're going to get smashed, like, you're going to get embarrassed, this, that, and the other. We didn't care. We just wanted to, like, have a good time, use this as experience. And yeah, obviously we've had some fantastic moments. All right, we've had a little bit of a reality check in this Dortmund game at home, but we've got 3 more games, and we'll go into them and do what we can in them and see how it pans out. But yeah, by all stretch, I'm not going to see it as like, let's tank for third just because the Europa League has got more of a slightly favourable chance of going far in that competition. There's still really good teams in the Europa League as well that, you know, we could end up getting if we do finish in third. So, like, yeah, let's go for second. Like, why not? We'll even go for top still. Like, if we'll.
Oh, I'm here. He is now.
Glass half full. He's topped that glass up.
Yeah, no, like, I know, like, yeah, I'm battling between my head, thinking things aren't gonna pan out the way they are, but like,
devil and angel on his shoulder.
My heart's saying, like you.
Hands like, tell me no. My body's telling me yes.
Love it. But yeah,
while we're talking about it, we might as well give a prediction for the Dortmund game, because realistically, we're not going to get on before it would have been a Tuesday fixture.
I'm flying out on Monday afternoon.
Yeah, there you go.
We've got a man on the ground in there, so yeah.
1.5 man, actually.
1.5.
1.5. Go on then. I'll fire away. I'm gonna say 1-1.
That's not depressing Thomas over there. I was expecting to say 2-0 Dortmund.
No,
we convinced them.
That's a good result.
I'll take the 1-1. I know, like, yeah, I've said what I've said, but yeah, I've got trust in Eddie to, like, you know, like you said, he'll have been watching that Dortmund game back loads, so hopefully he finds a weakness in there, and we do get one past them.
Well, I'm going to say 2-1 to the Toon. We're going to go into their backyard. We're going to get the win, and also that'll put we're ahead of them on the head-to-head as well, since there's more goals scored. So fucking little icing on the old beer.
I'm going to go for 1-0. Clean sheet away to Dortmund.
Yeah. One of us.
But I mean, we were meant to be talking about Arsenal, so we should probably get back to that. With Arteta, what are you making to him this season? He's obviously done all this stuff with the 2 keepers, which has had people question him slightly, but obviously there's still flying. The only one that I've seen him struggle with is that Chelsea game where his subs came on and made the difference. So are you rating him as highly as everyone seems to be?
Definitely. Like, he's learned from the best, hasn't he? And he's built it over like quite a few years now. He's got such a young squad as well. Like, even like the likes of Rice coming in, like, I'm sure he's only like 25, even though he's been in the league for however long. Martinelli's been in the league for years, despite being injured for half of it. But yeah, no, I rate him. He knows what he's doing, and tactically he can, as you said with the Chelsea game, he can change it up if things aren't going his way. So yeah,
and you got one over on Pep this season as well for the first time.
Yeah, they've picked up some statement wins already. They've beaten Man United, beaten City. They've had some hiccups in the London derbies with Tottenham and Chelsea, but still managed to avoid losing in those games. Obviously, Champions League wise, had a little wobble, didn't they? But they've righted that a little bit with the win away at Sevilla. So, I think they're looking in incredible form across all comps. Obviously, they've got a trip away to West Ham beforehand in the Carabao. Not too sure how well they're going to take that competition. They've got plenty of players that they can rotate as well, and they tend to, and the Arsene Wengers of old just used it as a put the kids out sort of competition. I'm not sure if Arteta kind of follows that same sort of ethos with the Carabao, but I expect they'll rotate quite a bit and then have their usual 11 available for the league game at the weekend.
Yeah, I've just had a quick look at the squad they fielded against Brentford in the last round away from home, and they've got quite a few of the starters playing, to be honest, but a few rotation as well. The likes of Reece Nelson coming in, Jorginho and Kivio coming in. But then the likes of Sago Jr., never heard of the guy. Ramsdale started that game as well, so they've got plenty. Gabriel, Jorginho, Ben White. So it's probably similar to what we're going to do. We'll probably rotate about half the team and give more focus to the Premier League, I guess.
All right, well, let's try and predict this one then. I'll go first. And I'm going to go 1-1. Which I don't believe in at all, but I'm going to say it anyway.
We don't predict defeats on this podcast, do we? I'm going to follow suit, I think. I'm going to go...
I thought you were going to predict the defeat.
I'm going to go 2-2. I'm going to go Desmond in this one.
Well, you reckon
I reckon it's going to be a tight game. I reckon it's going to be a tight game, and I don't want to predict a defeat, but I think we might be looking ahead to Dortmund a bit. And I'm going to go 1-0 Arsenal. Look how leggy we were against Wolves. We've then got the Man U game, Arsenal, and then Dortmund, which we can't really afford to lose.
It's I know we don't like this here, but you're not far wrong. I don't think.
All the different variables coming into it, whether it's leggy, losing a few players to injury, they're obviously in very good form. I think it will be a tight game. I don't think there'll be more than a goal in it, but yeah, I'm not too optimistic for that one. I'm more optimistic about going to Dortmund, to be honest, and getting something, which is strange.
No,
I hope you've enjoyed your last episode on the podcast.
Yeah, man, this is
not coming back from Dortmund after the win.
Oh, but yeah. So obviously you're jetting out on Monday, you said. So have a fantastic trip. Get a lot of stuff for the socials for us at stjames'pod. If you want to keep up to date with the lads over there, there's quite a lot he's going into altogether.
He's 11-0 and little party.
Oh, nice.
And the flag, don't forget. That'll be making its debut.
Got a new flag, aye?
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, it's good.
Why, man?
Yeah, so I guess we've gone through 3 games there. Tough fixtures, but I mean, 3 different competitions at this point we're obviously still in. It might not be that come next week, but I think the Man U game should be alright.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back next week, and we'll be previewing Bournemouth. Like the way I said
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth away, and then we'll probably be looking ahead to that. Actually, we've got a free week that one, so we should be alright. Yeah, got
hopefully the
international break after that.
Which he's like be back for after.
Yeah.
And then you'd like to think we'd have Botman back and some of the other lads coming back in. Murphy might even come back if Fizz isn't too bad. So yeah, not bad. Alright, sound. We'll be back for the Bournemouth preview then, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Auf Wiedersehen, Pet.
Wanna hear you go?